Hello, algebra students. We're back in chapter 2. We're doing 2.2. We're solving one-step inequalities, focusing in on addition and subtraction. We want to undo addition and subtraction. So we're going to do one-step inequalities. Now our goal is to solve the one-step inequality, and then we're going to graph our answers. So we're going to continue practicing that skill. And there is a skill, another skill I do want to teach you in addition to solving and then graphing, and that's how to write an inequality when it's not in an order that you're accustomed to seeing, okay? So let me get started on that, and probably towards the bottom here, where the end's on the other side. I'll show you how to flip it over, do a couple of examples with you, just make sure you've got that concept, okay? So let's take a look. We're solving each inequality, and here I am with x plus 9 is less than 15. Now remember, just like with any equation or inequality, I can't really solve it and know what the answer is until I solve for the variable. And with inequalities, you have infinite answers. Infinite. They're always infinite. Okay? So let's look at x. How do I undo the addition that's going on between x and 9? That's right, we're going to subtract 9 from each side. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to drop down our x, drop down our less than sign, and then what's 15 minus 9? 6. Very good. So that's what we're going to graph, is x is less than 6. So you might want to do 4, 5, 6, 7. That'll be fine. And then let's do an open circle, because remember, it's not equal to 6, it's not less than or equal to, it's just less than. And if you remember from the last lesson, if it's less than or greater than, do an open circle. If it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, do your closed circle, your filled in circle. You may want to put that as a reference on the top of your notes, okay? So we're doing an open circle because it's just less than, not less than or equal to, and then we need to find all the numbers that are smaller than 6. So if you're thinking, draw it to the left, you're correct. That's what you do, and that's, here's the answer, and here's the graph. Good job. Let's move down. We've got d minus 3 is greater than negative 6. So we need to get d by itself. How do you undo the subtraction that's going on between d and the 3? That's right, we're going to add 3 to each side. Correct. Okay? So now we've got d is greater than, and then what's negative 6 plus 3? That's right, negative 3. So now we've solved it. This is what we're going to graph. What I just circled is what we're going to graph. And we need to get our number line prepared. So let's be really careful with the negatives. I have had students in the past, let me kind of just show you an error here. I have had students with the negatives, they'll sit there and do their negatives like this. Okay, this is wrong. This is an error, big error. You don't write your negatives that way. Your negatives start here. So if you start with 0, then as you go towards negative land, then it's negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5. Okay? It goes, you start with negative 1 and go left. Okay? You don't start with negative 1 on the left side like we did here and move right. No, that's not how you do it, okay? You don't do it that way. You start here with 0, like we did. We put an anchor there. Anchor number is 0, and then we worked our way towards the left, and we're actually getting more negative. These numbers are getting smaller and smaller as we go left, even though on the positive side, 5 is bigger than 4. On the negative side, negative 5 is smaller than negative 4. So I really need you to get that through your skull, that first of all, we don't draw our number lines like that on the negative side. You're treating it like it's a positive when it's actually negative, and we don't write it in that order. Okay? All right, so let's get back to the problem. We have D is greater than -3, so we're going to draw an empty circle over -3. And this time we want all the numbers that are bigger than -3, so we're going to draw an arrow to the right. The right is where the numbers are getting bigger, left is when the numbers are getting smaller. Okay? Hopefully that made sense and we cleared up any potentials for errors, I'm hoping. All right, let's get to our last one. This time we're working with decimals, no big deal. 0.7 is greater than or equal to n minus 0.4. So remember, you've got this n and you got this 0.4. What operation is going on between those two numbers? That's right, subtraction. How do you undo subtraction? Addition. So we're going to add 0.4 to each side. Okay, done. All right, so now I got 1.1 is greater than or equal to n. All right, now this is one. All the other ones, if you notice, have the variable on the left, the variable on the left. This one has the variable on the right. It's real easy to flip it over, okay? It's like flipping over a piece of paper, okay? You're literally going to flip it over. N is now on the left. Greater than or equal to flips to less than or equal to, and then 1.1. So the numbers switch positions and the inequality flips over. Okay, let me try another one with you. Let's say you had 3 is less than n. And we want to flip that over. It's like flipping over your hand or flipping over a piece of paper. Okay, and so n and 3 are going to switch positions and less than is going to become greater than. Do you see how to flip it? Let's do one more. Let's say we've got -8 is greater than or equal to x. And we want to flip that over because some of us are more comfortable. Like me, I'm more comfortable with the variable on the left. I like reading it with my variable on the left because it makes sense to me how to graph it when the variable's on the left. And so when you flip it over, like flipping your hand over or flipping a piece of paper over, your x and your -8 are going to switch positions and your inequality is going to flip over. And these mean the same thing. These two, -8 is greater than or equal to x, means the same thing as x is less than or equal to -8. That's the truth of the matter, okay? All right, well, back to it. We want to graph n is less than or equal to 1.1. So what you could do is you could literally start with 1 and then go 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. You could do it like that. That's fine. That's very detailed. You could do whole numbers and estimate where 1.1 is. That's really fine. All right, so we're going to do a filled-in circle over the 1.1. And then we want all the numbers that are less than or smaller than that, and that would be to the left. And there you go. That's how you solve one-step inequalities and then graph them. And then I put in a little bonus here. What if they're not in an order that's easy to graph? You know, like we just did, let's say -11 is greater than x. You know, how can I flip that over? And we just talked about switching the position of the numbers and flipping your inequality symbol over, just like you're turning a piece of paper over to the back. That would be the same thing, basically. Okay? All right, if you have any questions, write those in the margin. Let's talk about it and bring your questions to class. Thank you for listening.